Marble Horse TV. My apologies for the hiatus. Just had lots of other things to do, life to do. So yeah, I want to talk about transfer news though, and I'm going to start off with a new number 10, shall we say? Um, so yeah, Smith Rowe is staying. So all this Chelsea talk. So not Chelsea. What am I saying? All this Villa talk seems to be for nothing. Um, and yeah, he's one of our better players last season. Probably not at Saka's level, but I think like Saka, Smith Rowe can get in the England team if he sustains himself, which I'm confident he can. And probably a contender, maybe you'd say, for the Qatar World Cup. I know there's Mason Mount, there's Foden, there's Grealish, obviously. Even Madison, and we could well get him, but I'll talk about him in a little while. Um, and yeah, these are all points that in his favour. One thing about Smith Rowe is that, I'm not saying this to big up Mesut Ozil, but he's not a number 10 in the Mesut Ozil sense. He's active, he's on the ball, he tries to make things happen. And I think that is one negative of Ozil that, to be fair, we probably didn't compensate for. But I think that is the kind of number 10 or creative player you need in modern football. An Ozil type player could have worked, say, 10 years ago, but as of now, not so much. But yeah, I'm very happy that he's staying on. And yeah, it shows the club not just mean business, but it shows that we could have a pretty decent window. Um, so that is Smith Rowe. Um, and Lokonga, I want to talk about. Um, so yeah, Lokonga we signed last week, so it's kind of old. Well, not yeah, it's kind of moving to old news, but I haven't had a chance to talk about it that much. Um, but yeah, I think he's looks like a good signing with potential, and I think he's a profile of player we need too. Someone who's energy box to box. And I think if you look at the successful midfields like Liverpool, even City to some degree, look at Chelsea. Chelsea have a good balance with Kante and Kovacic and Jorginho. Um, I think that's how you have to go. Um, and yeah, uh, he looks decent. And yeah, uh, and as I'm here, I want to talk about Nuno Tavares. Um, I know this is old news to be fair, but I don't think I've spoken about him because he didn't come. I haven't had a video done lately, but yeah, he looks decent. Did well in the friendlies against in Scotland, and yeah, I think a younger backup to Tierney, not just someone who's old, but someone who's young and can grow into the world. I think was probably preferable over somebody like a Ryan Bertrand. I think Bertrand's gone to Leicester, so so far so good with him. Um, and yeah, so that's Smith Rowe and what's his name. But there's also talk of, and I'll show him just here, James Madison. Now, no, I'll put it on full screen. Yeah, James Madison, um, for what we can see, looks like the club are heavily in for him, or at least there's a strong interest. I don't think there's a bid, but we've probably made inquiries with Leicester. We've probably obviously spoken to him and his agent, and yeah, it looks like he's willing, from what can be ascertained at least, he is willing to leave. Um, Now, about 18 months ago, the talk was who was better, Madison or Grealish. And I think, to be fair, Grealish has stepped ahead of him a bit. Obviously, Grealish was one of England's better players in the Euros. Um, but Madison is a bit younger, I believe. I think Grealish is what, 26 now. Madison's about what, 23, 24. I think he's either 24, 25. So he's a bit younger. And I think, if he sustains himself, he can get to a higher level, or the level at least Grealish is at now, maybe even surpass him. Now, people are saying, oh, why is he joining Arsenal to downgrade? Arsenal's a bigger football club than Leicester in practically every sense. Fan base, trophies, history, finances. Leicester's been a better team over the last couple of seasons, or 3, 4 years maybe. Possibly. They have flirt, but they have a better manager. Rodgers for me is the best British manager around. But, you know, Arsenal has a higher ceiling. And, you know, he would have a greater profile. And, I don't think there should be such a thing as a big club England bias, but I think there is an unconscious big club bias if you're playing for international football. And probably not just in England too. Maybe in Spain, maybe in Italy this is true, or Germany this is true, or the Netherlands this is true. It probably shouldn't be the case, but unfortunately it is the case. Um, so I'm not saying he has to play for Arsenal to be more in the running for England. But as I say, maybe it is to some extent, and probably not as much as it was 20, 30, 40 years ago, but it's an unconscious bias. Maybe, who knows? So maybe that's a factor in his thinking too. So, yeah, I would take Madison. I know we signed Smith Rowe up, but Madison for me is would be someone Smith Rowe can learn from and definitely improve with. So yeah, I'll be 100% if he came. And the fees, what, 50 million that is rumored. So in that sense, yeah, it's something I would more than more than would welcome. So next up then is this uh, next up then is Ramsdale. Um, sorry if the screen looks a bit confusing. Actually, you know what? I shouldn't use that screen. That kind of mars it. Um, yeah, next up is Ramsdale. Um, so the thing with Ramsdale is that apparently we put a 30 million bid in for him. And I think this may be an unpopular opinion, but I don't have a major issue with it. Um, £30 million these days. Okay, let's put it this way. He is he's 23, but he's in the England squad. He has Premier League experience, and to be fair, he was playing for poor Premier League teams. I think he got relegated with Bournemouth, then went to Sheffield United. So one could argue if he plays for a better team and a bigger club, that could improve him in terms of the quality of players he's around and the different environment. One could argue that he isn't. Excuse me. One could argue that he is not. So what am I saying? One could argue that we don't need a keeper. That if you're getting a backup goalkeeper to Leno, which we probably do need, but I would say is a high priority, having somebody who's eager at the bit to improve and is young in his career makes little sense. Um, I think if you have a number two keeper at a club, generally it should be someone who's not at the level of the number one, but somebody who. Okay, let's look at say De Gea and Henderson at Man United, or you know, because if you have a number one who's a very high level, elite level, world class, then the number two can't be world class also because it would cause problems. And I think you should have a settled goalkeeper. Um, it's like the club really should have learnt with Ospina because I think Ospina was good enough to be a number one. Martinez obviously wanted to be a number one. I get the suspicion Martinez wanted to leave. Um, Leno himself said he was always a number one, and Martinez wasn't prepared to be second fiddle anymore, which is perfectly legitimate. Um, and yeah, um, so if you have someone like a Ramsdale, unless you're grooming him to be Leno's replacement, but Leno's not old himself, he's what, 28, 29, I think. So he's got a few years left in him. So I don't know. We recently signed up or promoted a Conga from the youth team, and yes, he didn't have a good. He made a mistake in that friendly, but let's be frank, he's young. Mistakes happen to all players, and you'll learn in time. So I can understand why the club may want a goalkeeper, but I think Ramsdale's probably the wrong kind of profile in terms of this. And also I want to talk about Tammy Abraham. Now, Tammy Abraham, for me, look, when are we going to stop signing, or not signing, but wanting to sign these Chelsea cast-offs? Calling him a has-been, he's young, so he's not the same, but it's not the same, but it is the same, if that makes sense. It's not the same in that he's obviously far younger than what's his name, David Luiz or Willian. He's not someone towards the end of his career who has a lot of experience. That the rationale was to utilize or tap off that or milk that experience, which he obviously didn't. Um, but he's a side man at Chelsea. You don't think Chelsea want Haaland? If Chelsea had the chance, they would sign Harry Kane, but I don't think he would get players from Spurs would sell to him or to them. You don't think they'd want Mbappe if they had the chance? So he's not like David Luiz and Willian, but he is like David Luiz and Willian. Like he's a player who really is on the periphery, and we in our wisdom, you know, are linked to him. You could, I don't know. For me, it's the image. Why are we signing Chelsea casters? Why should we act in a way that is subordinate to Chelsea? No, no, no. For me, it's a matter of principle. We should not be signing Chelsea gods. We don't seem to learn. Petr Cech was yes, don't get me wrong. Petr Cech, I think, if you look at his entire Premier League history, he's one of probably the three best keepers in Premier League history. I'll say Seaman, Schmeichel, Cech, in my opinion. But towards the end, when we signed him, he was a Chelsea sideman. I think they've got Courtois by that time. Yes, Petr Cech had a good first season with us. He won the Golden Glove, but after that declined. And then you had, what's his name? Obviously Luiz. Well, Luiz even at Chelsea was a calamity, but he was never the right fit in terms of profile for us when our defence was already crap. Willian, I can understand the rationale behind it, but I didn't want it. Again, Chelsea has been Chelsea sideman, and Abraham is just a younger Chelsea sideman. And for me, that's not a good look. Why should we be signing the scraps of another club, especially a club that we see at well? We are we're probably not rivals on the pitch, but we definitely are rivals in terms of club size and in terms of supposed aspiration. So for me, it's not a good look. We should not be signing the side. Okay, let's put it this way. Imagine if Man United signed Man City old players or side players. So let's say City signed Kane, right? And Pep lets go of Gabriel Jesus. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says, you know what, that Jesus brother, he's young, he's a Brazilian international. He could complement Cavani and man like Rashi and Sancho and Martial and them man there. Let's get him in. Or let's say a couple seasons De Bruyne leaves and United need a good creative midfielder. Or you know what, De Bruyne has a lot of Premier League experience. Yeah, come now, let's do a thing. Or let's say in a couple of years, Peps or whoever the City manager is then signs a new centre back, and he says, you know what, Stones, let's move him on, and whoever the United manager is, oh, you know what, Stones, yeah, he has Premier League experience, he's an England international, yeah, come. Is that a good look? Why should we sign Chelsea hand-me-downs? No. So I get it. Tammy Abraham has potential. He's young, he can develop, but for me, I don't like it. I just don't like it. Um, I just don't think that is a good look. So, last story I want to talk about now is uh, Hussein Aouar. Um, the thing is, though, if we're getting Aouar, or Madison, I should say, then does it make sense to get Aouar too and Smith Rowe was signed on? Um, I don't think that makes sense really. So I think Liverpool could probably use him. Um, but yeah, I think for now we do need more central midfielders. Um, and also, I'm going to talk about Granit Xhaka. I want to do that in a separate video because there are some points that I want to raise on Xhaka, but yeah, in a separate video. So yeah, that's all the transfer news for now. So thank you for watching.